The Strait of Hormuz. How Iran's 2 million toll ended in 9 hours. At 4:17 in the morning, the world's most critical energy artery went silent. No explosion. No declaration of war. Just 3 sentences, transmitted through encrypted channels from Iran's Revolutionary Guard to every commercial vessel attempting to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. You will stop, you will pay, or you will sink. Within 6 hours, oil prices had surged 28%. Gas stations across Europe were already updating their boards. Families in Ohio, Texas, and California felt it at the pump before they even understood why. Iran had just pulled the pin on the most dangerous economic grenade in modern history. This is the story of what happened next, and why it all collapsed in less than 9 hours. Welcome to World News Special Report. Today we are breaking down one of the most dramatic maritime confrontations in modern history. The day Iran tried to charge the world for access to international waters, and the precise, devastating response that ended that ambition permanently. Stay with us. This one is extraordinary. The Strait of Hormuz is just 21 miles wide at its narrowest point. Yet through those 21 miles flows nearly 20% of the world's entire oil supply every single day. Whoever controls that passage controls the economic heartbeat of the modern world. Iran knew this. They had known it for 40 years. On the morning of the operation, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Naval Command positioned 6 missile corvettes directly across the strait's narrowest choke point. Fast attack boats swarmed in coordinated patrol patterns along the Iranian coastline. Coastal radar batteries swept the water with targeting emissions so aggressive that commercial captains could feel the electronic pressure on their vessels. The toll was set at $2 million per ship. Paid in advance. No receipt. No guarantee of safe passage. Just the cold, implied promise of what would happen if you refused. For Tehran, this was 40 years of strategic calculation compressed into a single act. They believed the world would negotiate. What Iran did not know was that the United States had seen this coming before a single corvette left its port. The intelligence picture had been building for 72 hours. Satellite imagery from US Space Force orbital assets had tracked the repositioning of every Iranian naval vessel. Signal intelligence had intercepted fragments of the encrypted IRGC transmission hours before it even reached the commercial fleet. By the time the first tanker captain received the toll demand on his bridge, the USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group was already turning its bow toward the strait at flank speed. Simultaneously, the USS Gerald R. Ford Strike Group, operating 400 miles to the west in the Red Sea, received its orders. 2 of the most powerful naval formations ever assembled in human history began converging on those 21 miles of water like 2 steel fists closing around a single throat. Iran had miscalculated completely, and the response was already in motion. At 6:14 a.m. Zulu time, the U.S. Fifth Fleet issued a formal maritime notice to every vessel anchored in Gulf waters. The message was unambiguous. The Strait of Hormuz is international water. No nation has legal authority to levy transit fees. The United States Navy will guarantee safe passage, and any Iranian asset that interferes will be treated as a hostile act. Iran's answer came 87 minutes later. An IRGC fast attack boat intercepted a Marshall Islands-flagged chemical tanker attempting to resume transit. Warning shots were fired across the bow. An armed boarding party began climbing the hull. 14 miles away, an MH-60R Seahawk helicopter from the USS Normandy had its electro-optical targeting system locked on every Iranian sailor on that deck. The pilot used the M240 door gun, targeting the fast attack boat's engine compartment with surgical precision. The boat went dead in the water in under 8 seconds. The boarding party retreated. The bluff was finished. Within 90 minutes of the boarding failure, the IRGC entered what American military planners had anticipated and prepared for, the berserk phase. Tehran launched everything simultaneously. 44 Shahed 136 suicide drones from coastal sites, 16 anti-ship cruise missiles from mobile launchers hidden in the Zagros foothills, 3 Fateh 110 ballistic missiles targeting the Abraham Lincoln's last known position. It was a desperate all-or-nothing throw, a final bet that sheer volume could overwhelm American defenses. The kill web did not blink. High above the engagement zone, an E-2D advanced Hawkeye aircraft had been orbiting since before the first toll demand was issued. The moment the first Shahed left its launcher, the battle management system had already assigned a response, not a human response, but an automated one calculated in milliseconds and distributed simultaneously across the entire coalition force architecture. Iran had fired $180 million worth of weapons. The sky was about to answer. 4 Arleigh Burke-class destroyers lit up in coordinated sequence. SM-6 missiles erupted from vertical launch cells, their exhaust plumes painting the pre-dawn sky in columns of white fire. The kill web had divided the entire Iranian salvo into 63 individual problems and assigned 63 individual solutions. Before the Iranian launch crews had even finished their firing sequences, the Shahed drones died in clusters. Those that survived the SM-6 intercept layer were shredded by Phalanx close-in weapon systems at under 500 meters. 4,500 rounds per minute of 20mm depleted uranium ending each remaining threat in seconds. The ballistic missiles were handled by Virginia-class submarines. 2 converted anti-submarine rockets intercepted them at the edge of the atmosphere. The Iranian ballistic salvo never touched water. In 11 minutes, 63 Iranian weapons had been reduced to debris fields scattered across 40 miles of Gulf water. 0 coalition assets were damaged, not one. The third phase of America's response was not defensive. It was surgical, and it was designed to make the toll operation physically impossible to ever repeat. US Cyber Command had been inside the IRGC Naval Command Communications Network for 96 hours before the first shot was fired. At 9:23 a.m. Zulu, they activated their access. Iran's entire coastal radar network went blind simultaneously across 7 sites. Not jammed, not degraded. The software running their targeting systems was permanently overwritten with corrupted firmware that would take weeks to even diagnose. Iranian corvette captains stared at their screens and saw empty ocean. They were navigating blind, in a strait full of American warships they could no longer detect. With the radar network neutralized, F-35C Lightning II squadrons launched from the Abraham Lincoln, invisible to what remained of Iran's air defense network, and began erasing the mobile missile launcher positions one by one before sunrise. At 10:47 a.m. Zulu, the Tomahawk phase began. 40 BGM-109 Block V cruise missiles launched from the vertical launch systems of the destroyer and cruiser escorts. Each missile had been assigned a specific target, not the corvettes, which were already neutralized, but the financial and command backbone of the toll operation itself. The IRGC Naval Command Bunker outside Bandar Abbas, the communications relay station on Keshem Island, the fuel depot and maintenance facility at Bandar Lenge that kept the fast attack boat fleet operational. All 40 missiles arrived at their targets within a 6-second coordinated impact window. At 10:51 a.m. Zulu, the toll operation's entire logistical infrastructure ceased to exist. By 1 p.m., the 180 tankers that had been anchored in open Gulf waters began receiving updated navigational guidance from US 5th Fleet. Convoy formation. 4 escort destroyers per group. Continuous carrier air cover above. The strait was open again. The damage assessment inside Tehran told a story that no state media broadcast could soften. The IRGC Naval Command had lost its entire coastal radar network. 14 mobile launcher systems destroyed. Its primary command bunker, gone. Its main communications relay, gone. Its forward logistics base, gone. Of the 89 fast attack boats active at the start of the operation, 52 remained functional. 3 corvettes were drifting under Coast Guard tow, disabled by electronic warfare. The toll operation had generated precisely 0 revenue. It had cost the Iranian regime approximately $2.3 billion in destroyed hardware and infrastructure in a single morning. The Iranian Foreign Ministry issued a statement calling the American response an act of aggression. It was issued from a backup communications facility because the primary facility no longer had a roof. Meanwhile, Brent crude, which had surged 28% at the open of European trading, reversed course in real time as satellite images of burning IRGC facilities circulated through trading floors in London, Singapore, and New York. By market close, the price had returned to within 3% of its pre-closure level. The economic grenade had been defused. The lesson of the Strait of Hormuz toll operation is written permanently in the wreckage scattered along the Iranian coastline. You cannot charge the world for access to international waters when the world has a navy. You cannot leverage the global economy when that economy has a security architecture built across 8 decades of American naval power. Iran bet that $2 million per ship was a price the world would pay rather than fight. They forgot to calculate the cost of being made to stop. That cost was paid by the IRGC, measured in radar towers, missile launchers, command bunkers, and the absolute silence of a toll booth that no longer exists. The tankers are moving, the strait is open, the fee was cancelled. That was our World News special report on the Strait of Hormuz confrontation. If you found this breakdown valuable, hit like and subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next in-depth coverage. Share this with someone who needs to understand how the world actually works. Until next time, stay informed, stay sharp. We will see you in the next one.